Hey everybody, I don't know why my doggone video did not work yesterday regarding the subject I'm about to talk about, but sorry about that. And so I'm redoing it, and I'm in the studio here just getting this done quick for you. Again, my name is Jason DeZurek, and you can find out information at worldviewwarriors.org. You can also find out information at donotkeepsilent.com on the thread or on Facebook. I put the regarding the Catholic Church. I believe it was like in 2005. There was a article about or on them that they no longer swear by the truth of the Bible. And so I just put this thinking and way of teaching is what led me to a life of destruction for many years. These people are just not logical. The Bible, read correctly, is either truth or not. People need to understand that there is not middle ground, and to say there is will lead people to destruction. Now, I say this because this article really what they're hitting at is Genesis 1 to 11. That if you don't believe that part, then it's okay because what we believe is, they would say, is what we believe. I'm trying to lay it on here. No, maybe not. Anyway, what they believe is that you can still believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So I've done stuff on this before, but it just drives me crazy. You see, if you believe that you can believe in Genesis 1 or not believe Genesis 1 through 11, but still believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, I have a question for you. Why in the world did Jesus come? Why? I mean, he came to save his people. He came so we would have a right relationship with him. Do you agree with that statement or not? I'm hoping most of you answer that question. And those of you who are Christians, I would say, agree with that statement. Maybe there's more. If there is, please comment below. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Jesus Christ came so we'd have a right relationship with God. Now, if you believe that, you say Genesis 1 through 11, some people out there would say, well, it wasn't true. It didn't happen. But we need to have a right relationship with God. Well, wait a minute. When God made everything, was it perfect or not? And some people say, well, it wasn't. Okay, then that means that God is responsible for death. That's what it means. If you believe that Genesis 1 through 11 isn't true, or it's only got good things to believe. You see, Genesis 1 to 11 is very clear that death, dying, disease, hard work, meaning working hard as far as a struggle with work, came because Adam and Eve sinned. Thorns and thistles are here because Adam and Eve sinned. Or those of you who believe in Genesis or don't believe in Genesis 1 to 11, do you believe that death is here because of God? Do you believe God created cancer? Do you believe that God made AIDS? Do you believe that or not? Because if you say that Genesis 1 through 11 is not true, then there's no other option for you but to believe that God created it. There is none. And you say you're a Christian. And so that makes no sense. Now, I'm just going to jump into this here. Look, it's easy to understand when you look at Genesis 1 through 11, just for the way it is. It's easy to understand then why we need Jesus. It's easy to understand that because we fell away from God. We chose to disobey him. So sin entered the world, death entered the world, and all of creation fell because of Adam's sin. And so Jesus had to come so that we would be saved and that we would be redeemed and we would be in right relationship with God. Now, some people would argue that that's just not the case, and you know what? Either make a video or write some comments so I can comment on that, because I truly still don't understand your thinking on this. The only reason that you believe that Genesis 1 to 11 isn't true is because of what you have been taught from so-called science. And I say so-called science because the belief in evolution is a belief. There is absolutely zero evidence of macroevolution happening. Zero. And to say that you have it is just a flat out lie. Okay? We know all dogs came from one dog. Okay? Scientifically, you can trace them back. Now, you take a Chihuahua and a Great Dane, make sure the Great Dane's a female. But if you take the male Chihuahua and a Great Dane female, put them together, they will make a creature. But if you found them in the ground, dead, you probably wouldn't say they are the same animal. You wouldn't say they're both a dog. You would see the Chihuahua and say, oh, well, this is this, and if you never saw one. Getting into some other stuff there, but Brian wrote about Jesus' death, that things vary with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and he went into this. And by the way, Brian, hi, how are you? Brian and I used to hang out in Seattle, good friend of mine then, and we fell away, but now we're connected up through Facebook. But so I just want to say hi, Brian. Hope you're doing good. And I do appreciate what I like about Brian. He's a thinker, and he's willing to try to be logical. So Brian, keep it up. You and I disagree. There's no doubt about it, but I want to thank you for at least being logical and trying to think this through. Now, the thing is with Jesus' death, you got to understand about eyewitnesses, okay? Because, yes, there are different things that happened at the crucifixion that each writer said some different things. Well, of course that would be the case, just like in an accident. I mean, think it through. If an accident happened on the street, boom, cars hit. Let's say somebody is in their apartment, in 2, 3, 4 stories up, and then there's a person at ground level, and then there's a person in the car, and then there's people elsewhere. Okay, somebody's sitting at ground level, but they're eating food, so they're not really paying attention. You got the person walking across the street. You got all these eyewitnesses of what happened. Will they all have a different story? Yes, they will have different things that they pull out, but it's all the truth. And that's what's going on here. See, when Jesus died, Jesus and John talked to each other. So that would make it clear that John probably was pretty close. We can make an assumption there that, yeah. It talks about that Jesus says, into your hands I commit my spirit. It is finished. Those are some things that you had brought up, Brian. Okay, and I believe it's in Luke where it says that he yelled, it is finished. I think something like that. And then I believe it's Matthew just says he had a big yell. Okay, could those be linked? Sure. And then what about the person, though, that says it was something else? Well, they just had a different perspective. It doesn't make it wrong. It means they saw it differently. Maybe they were there for a while and then they left. I don't know. I'm saying, if anything, having things that are a little different in the stories make it even more believable. As far as an eyewitness account, far more believable, because you go talk to any lawyer, any judge, go talk to people that are involved with this stuff, and they will tell you that if all the stories are exactly the same from eyewitnesses, there's a problem, because it's not possible. It's just not. So I'd encourage you, if you have any friends like that, just ask them, hey, if you got a case, defense lawyer, prosecutor, whatever, ask them if your the guy you were going against, if his witnesses all said exactly the same thing and their stories were exactly the same, would that make their case stronger, or would it make it like questionable, like somebody coached them and taught them to do that? I just ask. I mean, from my experience anyway, the people I've talked to, they say, yeah, it usually doesn't jive. Usually there are some things that are a little different. I want to encourage you to go to DoNotKeepSilent.com, WorldviewWarriors.org, and there are 2 books I just want to recommend to you. One is More Than a Carpenter by Josh McDowell. More Than a Carpenter by Josh McDowell. It's a very thin book, easy read. I mean, the book itself is like this tall. It's super small and real thin. Also, another one by Josh McDowell, Evidence Demands a Verdict. Evidence Demands a Verdict. The reason I'm saying Evidence Demands a Verdict to read that is because in there, it's just a beefy book, just incredible. And it's a tough read, though. I want you to know, tough read meaning it's very deep, it's meaty. The book Evident or More Than a Carpenter, though, easy for a layman, easy for a student to read, and to get some stuff out of there. So just want to encourage you to do that, and just thank you guys for listening. And sorry this went so long, but I just had to get that in, and this is why I didn't type all this out because just way too long. So, anyways, have a good one, and I will see you later.